Sure. Well, I speak in English. So,
Okay.
yeah. So when I graduated from university at Columbia University in New York City, being a Venezuelan myself of several generations, I went back to my country to do skyscrapers and to build a modern city. And I realized that we could not do those kinds of buildings that I was taught to do at Columbia University. So actually, most of the education actually in architecture now is wrong. And architects are not taught really to do the right thing. The right thing would be to be really respectful about the materials you choose, understand your local environment, don't import things. It's absurd to be bringing titanium, in the case of Frank Gehry, the famous American architect, titanium around the globe to build a building in Panama, let's say. You know? So the idea around urbanization is that in the next 20 years, there will be 2 billion people, additional people on this earth. And those 2 billion people will mostly be born in Southeast Asia and Africa. Those are the two areas that will expand, India and of course Africa. And of those 2 billion people, most of them will be born in slums. So if the population of the world is now urban, those slums will be urban. So it's a huge market. And what I thought could be done when I went back to Venezuela was to start to bridge technology, corporations, companies, with the actual social problems that are really happening. So we're not going to import any more expensive elevators, Schindler elevators to South America, because we can't pay for them. We can't even maintain them. So somehow Schindler's got to reinvent the elevator, like Doppelmayr, who does cable cars, reinvent the cable car cabin to make a product that is for the majority of the world. So it has to be a cheaper, simpler, easier to maintain product. So it's a huge market, but the market is to attend the majority of the poor. So with that, I think there's incredible potential, and that's what I say would be positive urbanization, that we start to rethink the relationship between communities, people, NGOs, etc., the city, mayors, and city infrastructure, corporations, and academia, university, let's say. And in the process of building that urbanization, new cities that we're going to have to deal with, in the middle stands the architect. He's particularly well educated because he knows a little bit about a lot of things. He's a coordinator, he's a producer of the city. He sits in the middle, he understands engineering, he understands architecture, he understands materials, he understands the whole ecology around building. He's particularly good to put all of those actors on the table. So what I say, the future will be this uniting these four legs of the table together and into what would be a kind of university for the city. And the reason cities, we heard yesterday that actually it's very bad to think in the past and to think about how it was better before. I can guarantee you that cities before were better. I can guarantee you that Caracas 20 years ago, in the 1950s, was better than Caracas today. It was more ecological, it functioned better, etc. But that's not to say that I've lost hope. It's that I believe we have to have a critical mind. We have to start to really critically understand history. So if we don't understand history, we don't understand anything at all. If we don't understand that highways have been, was a terrible thing to bring into cities, to cut across cities, to create, etc. If we don't understand that when the train company was formed 100 years ago, the trains in Switzerland, or the train probably in Italy, was land that was given in concession, public concession for train tracks to be put into a city. And those lands that were publicly owned, right? They were publicly owned. The train companies today are now selling off pieces of that public land in order to develop new Europales In Zurich, we have one, and which is to develop high-end buildings given to a big developer, and those buildings have nothing to do with the public ideology and concession of the land that they were originally titled for. It should be affordable housing. It should be a mix of things. There can be an element of luxury and incorporate. But so what I'm trying to say is that we've lost a little bit our idea of where to make a balance between what is needed in cities and what is profitable for cities.